What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Bitcoin Cash today. It is the 26th day of November, and here we are sitting at about $537 as it is right now. 8 hours and 11 minutes left in this day. Hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Shout out to the Dragon Riders. I don't know if I said it already or not, but if I haven't, shame on me. Let's get into this, okay? We've broken out of our horizontal phase down here, and we are now resting on top, finding support. Simultaneously, we have broken above our diagonal trend line here. I'm not drawing it the best, but let's just use an actual line. That way nobody thinks I'm fudging the numbers here, right? Maybe this trend is better fitted like that, something like this. A little bit of wicks to the upside, but at least it encapsulates this whole trend down. Clear break here, clear support somewhere around this trend line here. We've basically broken out of a downward sloping trend line, a horizontal trend line, and we're now finding support on top of both of them. This is very bullish posturing, and I do assume that this implies good things to come for Bitcoin Cash. I really wouldn't be surprised at all if, even by the end of this month, I mean, it's the 26th now. We only have 4 days left. I wouldn't be surprised if we were making way toward $1,000 over the next 4 days. And maybe it takes longer. Maybe it's a week and a half. It's a whole 2 weeks until we make that trek. But sometime soon we're going to see it, right? Timing is not my strong suit. Timing is one of the hardest things to get whenever it comes to market dynamics. But the price will happen. And the price that will happen, that I'm expecting to happen at least, would be anything and everything from at least, let's just see here. Let's get that low on there. Yeah, that's the low. Anything and everything at least from about $1,800 to $2,700 or more, right? This, by the way, 18 to 2,700, this is the, in my opinion, the less likely zone to stop at. Likely we will stop above this area, but this is the minimum zone to imply, or to what's the word I'm looking for? Is imply the right word? To expect, I guess, to intend. Maybe that's what I was thinking. Anyways, I very much do expect that we will see something above $3,000. We'll probably see something around 4,000, 4,300, or maybe even above there. We could go above $5,000 by the end of this endeavor. As far as when, it's the question, right? When does it start? When does it end? You know, this move could start this month but end at the end of January. It could start the second week of December and end at the end of December, right? It's going to be a fast move. It's not going to take long to get up here, but not long could be 2 weeks. It could be 3 months. You know, it just depends. 3 months, that's a long time. What do you mean that's not long, Caesar? I mean, dude, 3 months in this market when you've been moving sideways for a year and a half, 3 months to move up, 250% at a minimum, potentially like an 11x, 1,000% at a maximum. I mean, that's pretty short, and that's pretty good. I'll take that every day. Those are good results right there. Looking at the short-term stuff, let's zoom way the hell in. Let's look at the 1 hour time frame. Oh my God, look at the volume. Look at the volume. It didn't do anything. It was just a wicked 1 hour time frame there. Wow. At the low too. Good for you, Bitcoin Cash. Good for you. That's some of the highest levels of volume that we've seen. And it comes in right. I got a good feeling about this, you guys. I'm just saying, man. Some big shenanigans is going on right now, if you catch my drift. RSI bouncing off the 50, looking good here. Stochastics looking good. And then the MACD is crossing above the 0. Cool. All good things on the 1 hour time frame there. 4 hour time frame. I don't like that you're rejecting the overbought zone, but you're at least finding support at the 50. That's nice. Stochastics are maintaining a bullish read, and the MACD has only gotten more bullish. 4 hour time frame bouncing off the 40, that's really nice in itself. Bouncing off of prior areas of resistance is really good. We are finding resistance now at prior support, but I don't think it'll hold. If it does, let's imagine that it does. Let's imagine Bitcoin Cash consolidated here, broke out, consolidated here, broke out, and now instead of finding support at this prior area of resistance, say prior area 3 times fast, I dare you. I should get a standing ovation every time I properly say prior area of anything. The fact that we're finding support at prior areas of resistance doesn't mean that we can't break through it. We could go lower. And if we do, even if we come back in here, guess what? Everything to the upside is still going to happen. You just have an immense blessing at being able to buy Bitcoin Cash at cheaper prices, guys. Here, we did go down to about $516. if I'm not mistaken, I think we were calling for prices around 520 to 503 or lower, weren't we? Last time that we talked about it. Maybe that was like last week. I can't remember what we said yesterday. Too many charts and too much food. We had a Thanksgiving celebration yesterday, so I'm a little bit food hungover right now. Um, I'm talking too much. 4 hour RSI bouncing off the 40 looks good. Consistently getting overbought, consistently not getting oversold. Good, looking good overall, right? Even in the chop, you're bullishly charged. The stochastic suggests that we have higher to go. The MACD, we crossed above the zero. We have been consolidating now for roughly 28 bars, 4 days and 16 hours. That's a long time to consolidate. And I think we're about to get that breakout move. My theory with the 4 hour MACD is that when you cross above, you consolidate for 1.5 to 3 days. In this case, 4.5 days, almost 5 days, maybe longer. And it can be longer. That doesn't hurt it. And then typically, when you run the run up after this, when you bounce off the zero here, like you are now with your oscillators, you haven't bounced yet. We haven't seen the cross yet, but it looks like you want to bounce here. The run that happens here typically is bigger than the run that happened here. So all I'm trying to say by this is, if I'm right, if the 4 hour MACD is leading us true, if the stochastics are as well, and the RSI is as well, if all of these together are working fantastically, the expectation here is that Bitcoin Cash should, I mean, it's Wednesday, right? Today's Wednesday, tomorrow's Thanksgiving, Thursday. I would think within the next week, by this time next week, if not sooner, probably by the end of the month, I would think Bitcoin Cash is back above $600 and immensely. We're at like 650 or higher. Again, the idea here is that the next move is not as robust as the move that brought you up here based off of this 4 hour MACD theory that we're running with, right? This is a new thing. If you've been watching the channel for 3 years, we've never talked about this. This is something that we've really talked about in the past 2 months. We've tried to nail a couple of calls. It hasn't been perfect, and no indicator is. And the whole market tanked, so it wasn't perfect on this last one. We're getting a second chance here, and things are a little bit different right now, right? It looks like the blue here is finding support at the zero, crossing up. Here you didn't find support. You crossed through. I really do think that we're going to see this come to fruition, and if I'm right, the move thereafter should be bigger than the move that brought us into this. So in which case, I'm trying to say, I believe from here at $537, anybody investing in Bitcoin Cash can go to sleep easy knowing that they will see a 22% gain or likely more over the next 7 days. If not 14 days. If not less time, it could be by the end of this month. It could be over the next 4 or 5 days. But I think it's coming soon. I would think by the end of the month, Bitcoin Cash is around, if not just below, $700. And that call that I just said right there, that's going to age famously. It's going to do well. If not by the end of the month, very, very early in December. Okay, it's coming. Might be the easiest, most obvious 20+% pump within the next week that we have in crypto. Safest bet too, because worst case scenario, it doesn't. It goes lower, and all that means now is that you're at a better opportunity to buy for the long haul, and those same price areas will only be at a better growth potential, and likely we go higher than that. But again, looking at the charts, I'm convinced we're going to be moving up. Looking at the volume, I would think we're moving up too, but time will tell. We'll see how it goes. Daily time frame, looking at this. Daily RSI is looking good. Do you guys see it? Do you see it? Can you see? Do you feel it, Mr. Let me tell you. Let me tell you what we got here. We got a rejection here. We got a rejection here. We got a rejection here, right? And I'm not talking about these rejections because these are the lower highs. I'm talking about the high of the move. I'm not talking about these rejections because these are the lower highs. I'm talking about the high of the move, okay? Rejection, rejection, rejection. Rejection, right? Here, you rejected, but it's a little bit different, isn't it? It's a little bit less tenacious. We've got some, to me, it seems as though this area, as far as the rejection goes, it just seems to be cooperating differently with the RSI than it had before. And different behavior, to me, oftentimes implies different results. We've got higher highs and higher lows. We had some of that back here, too. You know, this was whenever we had the Dogecoin and XRP spot ETFs come out, so I think that caused a big stir. You guys remember back on the 18th we were talking about that the fact that we might see a month of stagnation or even selling off Unfortunately, we didn't think that would apply to Bitcoin and the rest of the markets, but Dogecoin, because Dogecoin and XRP are two of the top 10 cryptos, even top 5 cryptos in the space. ETFs getting promoted. Everybody thinks that a spot ETF getting listed is a good thing. Typically, that promotes selling pressure, actually, across all commodities, not just crypto here. Anyways, different times now. That's all I'm trying to say. This RSI might be somewhat comparable to this over here. The reaction's different from the high, but even though it's comparable, different times. The attitude here is different. The volume here is different. The momentum is different, and it's shifted up, not down. Not down at all. The news back here is all about XRP and Doge, two top 10 cryptos that had their ETFs. Of course, we're going to be stagnant and drop across the board. That's probably the outcome of any significant ETF whenever it's first produced, at least in the United States. But Bitcoin Cash, there's a different narrative going on. There's a huge narrative. The narrative on X.com right now, and probably on various YouTube channels even. I'm not even talking about your conventional Bitcoin Cash YouTube channels. Shout out to the Bitcoin Cash podcast on that note. You guys, everybody should be following them. If you're invested in Bitcoin Cash, you got to keep up with the Bitcoin Cash podcast. They're great. They're very smart, and they know what they're talking about. And if I make you bullish with the charts, they'll make you bullish with the fundamentals. Absolutely, they will. Every single time. Half the time, I can't even understand what's being said. The other half that I do understand, I'm like, all right, give me more. Sometimes I got to rewatch those things like 2 times just because I need to like fully digest the information. And oftentimes I don't even fully digest it. It's some of it's above my levels of understanding. Where was I going with this though? Beyond talking about my ignorance, I can't remember. Oh yeah. That larger accounts. It's the whispers on the wind. That's what we're talking about. There are accounts on X, on YouTube, that are talking about Bitcoin Cash that might not normally talk about it. And the narrative that's going on, the very big narrative, is that Bitcoin Cash might be slept on. The same way that Zcash was, the same way that Dash was. Except the narrative's even bigger here. With Zcash, whenever people figured out it was slept on and it moved up higher, and we saw fantastic growth in a short amount of time, what happened? What narrative shifted there? Nobody talked about Zcash before, but then all of a sudden everybody's talking about, wow, is Zcash the better Bitcoin? Is this the thing that maxis are going to start rotating into? Is this the thing that they should be investing in all along? What do you think they're going to say about Bitcoin Cash when it gains attention? Those dots to connect are so much closer together. It's so much easier to connect. You've got the real Bitcoin, the real electronic peer-to-peer cash system. And it has been consolidating much like Zcash, but it has a bigger market cap. It's a more secure network. It's a better network overall. I think this pump is going to be stupendous. And again, the narrative here is that of what happened with Zcash and Dash. And then that opens the door. And then everybody starts to find their own narratives about, oh, Bitcoin was hijacked. Oh, there's a book made by a man named Roger Ver, who was one of the earliest, if not the first, venture capitalist investor in crypto. Oh, and he thinks Bitcoin Cash is the real Bitcoin. Oh, all these little doors. It's a rabbit hole. And the opening to this little door in the rabbit hole will be price action. Then everybody, again, it's the same thing. And this is why I probably say it in like half my Bitcoin Cash videos, if not all of them. We're going to be surprised how many people are in it for the tech up here. They're not in it for the tech down here. They're in for it up here, right? They're in it for the tech. If you hear anybody talk about Bitcoin Cash whenever it's worth thousands of dollars and say, you know what, I might just switch to Bitcoin Cash. I'm selling all my BTC because I'm in it for the tech. You're not in it for the tech. You're in it for the price pump. That's what it's been the whole time. That's what it's been the whole time. But the narrative is going to shift. The narrative will shift, and whenever it does, I'm just saying, with this, we saw Zcash do a 20x. I'm not saying Bitcoin Cash will do a 20x, but you guys, we might be underestimating the potential of this pump. This could truly be, because again, what we're dealing with here, it's not Zcash, it's not Dash, it's Bitcoin Cash, which is in a different league of its own. It really is. It's the only coin that can actually compete with Bitcoin. It is the only coin that has the same upbringing as Bitcoin. It's a twin. If you don't understand that, you don't understand how hard forks work, right? It's the only coin that could compete. So whenever I say that, what we're dealing with here, what if other people realize that? What if they realize it in mass droves? What if billionaires, countries, nation states institutions, what if they realize it? This pump could be and on top of that, if you're in the Bitcoin Cash community, you're plugged in, you're aware of all the exchange runs that Bitcoin cashers love to do. People in the community love to withdraw their Bitcoin Cash from the exchanges. Even if they plan on selling at some point, they love to withdraw because they like to test the exchanges. They like to expose them for having minimal reserves. What happens when any demand comes on a large scale and these exchanges don't have enough? Like this, I'm just saying, I'm talking casually here about prices that are worth multiple thousands of dollars. What if this move takes us to new all-time highs? What if it takes us to $10,000 more? What if we do get a true like Zcash pump where we do see a 20x or more from the low to the high? It could happen. And it's not because it's my biggest bag. It's not because I'm a moon boy for Bitcoin Cash. It's because Bitcoin Cash is the better Bitcoin. And we would get a pump like this if the people who are pumping it realize that. We might even get a pump that's bigger, right? If they're just buying for the pump, they're just buying to chase the pump, might be different. Maybe we don't pump to new all-time highs. Maybe, and in time we will. I just mean this initial pump, right? But if people are aware, if we have a whole class of investors coming into Bitcoin Cash here that are in it for the long term, like you and me, that are in it for not 2028, not 2030, but whenever you have grandkids, when your grandkids have kids, right? Like further down the line, decades down the line. And I have it drawn like this. It's not going to go down. I don't know why I'm sloping it like that. The amount of investors here, if there are a large amount of investors that have long-term projections in mind, we could absolutely see this thing rip to, I don't even know. I don't even want to give it a number. Dramatically higher prices than we're expecting. What if this right here is the starting point, the literal starting point of a move that takes us all the way up to 13K? That might seem preposterous. We could be looking back at this at the end of January and being like, it was so obvious. It was so, of course this thing would move like this. It's the better Bitcoin. It's the institutional cycle. People are looking for good investments that have longevity, that have been here for multiple cycles. You know, the venture capitalists, the billionaires, the 100 millionaires, the institutions, the nation states that are looking to create and stockpile crypto reserves for the long term to compete with the United States and compete with other nation states that are advancing crypto. They're going to look for something that stands out. And they're not in it. That kind of money is not in and out in 1 month. They're in it for the long haul. We might not be bullish enough. And we're talking a lot about that, but the reality is I fully expect we'll go somewhere between 27 to 4,300. I accept that at the highest we could go to like 6,000, maybe 5,500, something just above this high. I accept that. I don't believe we stop anywhere less than 2,700 personally. But even with my expectations, that might just be a fart in the wind whenever it's the end of January, end of February. Who knows? This thing, if anything, will move faster and larger than expected, not lesser. That's my thoughts. And again, it might seem, there might be skepticism here. It might seem wishy-washy here. Up here, it's going to seem so obvious. It's so obvious that this was the best asset to buy in crypto. Whenever we're up here, it's going to be increased. There's going to be even if you're watching this video, even if you're invested in Bitcoin Cash now, I don't care who you are. We're all going to feel like, why am I living in a house? Why am I not living in a box and trying to save as much money as possible to inject it into this thing before it rips? Like that, you could do everything right and you still won't feel like you've done it right enough. It's going to be that immense of a pump. That's my thoughts. I don't know. Or maybe if it's exactly what we expect it to be, somewhere around 27 to 4,300 might be where we go. But if we see a I don't want to say the word. I don't know. It's 2025. We're all past that, right? If we see a retard pump, it's gonna be pretty intense. Anyways, hugs and kisses. Hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care. Bye.